Here's a therapeutic writing prompt for you today. Write the story of when somebody made your life miserable. Here's mine. Satan was my third grade teacher. Is a snake an animal? No! My third grade teacher, Mrs. Redacted, shouted from behind half-moon spectacles that magnified myriad wrinkles. She singled me out for torture once again, with a finger so crooked it looked dislocated, as it pointed 3 feet to my left. Her white hair was done in big curls, in hopes that volume could cover the scaly paleness of a balding scalp. I stood, the object of everyone's attention and my own humiliation, for daring to correct an infallible woman. I should have learned by then that devil woman was always right, no matter how wrong she was. Others immediately returned to their classwork to correct it in light of this new misinformation. Everyone else knew to keep their eyes downturned, another lesson I should have learned. But I was a slow learner when it came to obedience to the devil, and that was why she spent a year trying to crush my soul through humiliation. She was the master of making grand assumptions from nothing, and once told me I would never have any friends, and that I was what was wrong with the world, all because I did poorly on a spelling test. My defiant bad attitude was even made a class discussion once, in which my fellow classmates were encouraged to say how much they disliked me. As we worked, she sat at the head of the class, surveying us with a permanent frown underlying the slits that were eyes. Those eyes, that when she looked at me felt like burning maggots burrowing through my skull to feast on my brain. For several minutes I stared at my worksheet, weighing what would be wrong with it this time. However, against an enemy that makes up the rules as she goes, predicting her whim was impossible. After a while, I simply resigned myself to fate, rose to hand in my worksheet for a third time, and Mrs. Redacted gave warning. "If you don't get it right this time, heads will roll." When I came near, there was no doubt in my mind that she meant it, as the blood-painted talons at the end of her twig-like fingers drummed an executioner's march on the desktop. We'd approach, one by one, like frightened pagans offering placatory sacrifice to an angry heathen god. Satan knows where that woman is now. I know several more generations of innocents were destroyed in that room after my escape. I haven't seen an obituary for her, but the way the skin melted off her bone years ago, can't be long before I do. Wherever she is, I know it isn't a better place. So now your turn. Write about someone who made your life miserable.